So let's talk about comping properties. Finding the accurate property comparable sales or recently sold is a huge part of the deal process. And when you don't have MLS access, and typically you don't unless you're a licensed agent or have a licensed agent, in your family, then we got to figure out a way around this part of real estate. Understanding how to properly comp a property will definitely help you as an investor, help you do more deals. And we comp every single potential deal that comes in, even if it doesn't look like one, because prices honestly have gone up so much, even in the last 3 to 6 months here, that we have to go back and comp where we might have known the value of that property 6 months ago or even done a deal in the same neighborhood. We've seen prices jump $30,000, $40,000 on a $300,000 ballpark price house. So we're still going back on neighborhoods that we know and have done deals in. All right, after we talked this morning, I'm hoping you'll be able to understand the evaluation process better, be able to pull comps without MLS access to determine an accurate or reasonably accurate ARV. There are 3 steps to the evaluation process that we use. Step 1 is your phone analysis. This is typically your conversation with the seller, asking them questions about the condition of the house and what updates they've done in the last 5 years. And if you had $20,000 to spend at Home Depot, what would you spend that money on? That question works really well for us and tends to make them say, well, let me think. Actually, I would probably. So that phone analysis with the seller is step 1. We're going to deep dive into step 2, which I would call the desktop analysis. It's after you hang up that phone and you're trying to do your research so you can crunch the numbers and put it together. Let me see this chat. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. And then step 3, and sometimes this step is forgotten even by experienced investors, but it's your in-person analysis. So we're going to touch on that as well because I feel like that part is left out sometimes as well. All right. Let's see. Your desktop analysis goals, or what you're trying to do once you've had that phone conversation, is number 1, verify the information the seller has told you. We do this, number 1, by pulling the tax record from the county tax assessor's website. I am looking on that tax assessor site to make sure that the person I talk to is the owner of record. Maybe somebody has passed away and they've inherited the house, but I need to know this so we can have that conversation. Sometimes I pull the tax record and the ex-husband or ex-wife is still on there. I need to know that because they're going to have to sign off unless the divorce decree gives the house to the person we're talking to. So I do that. It seems like a simple step, but I would say 1 out of 3 deals, we have something to talk about. We also can see the county's measurements on the house in most places. Some counties not, but most of the time. And if the seller is telling me there's 1,500 square feet and the tax record's saying that there's 1,100, I've got to find out, did they convert the garage? Did they do an addition? Was it permitted? So after I pull that basic information and make my notes, then I go to Zillow. I use Zillow to find accurate comparables. Some people say, yeah, Zillow, that's got a bad name for itself. You really can use any site as long as you're using the actual numbers for sold properties, and we'll dive into that. Next step, calculate ARV, which is the after repair value, after it's fixed up and beautiful or rent-ready condition, whatever type situation you're looking at. And then you want to use a formula to figure out your maximum allowable offer, or the most you can pay for that house, and still have it make financial sense for your business. At that point, we determine if it's an appointment that we want to try to make in person and meet with the seller, or if we're just going to make a verbal offer. So we see a lot of verbal offers, and we don't go to a lot of in-person appointments since COVID, since last year came around. All right. There are 2 ways to research comparables, 2 methods. One of them they call AVM, or an automated valuation method. These are the numbers, the Zestimate, the number on realtor.com that they give, the automated number. We're not doing any math. We're just checking out different websites, total comps, PropStream, to see what the AVM is for that property. Sometimes you can look at all of them, and if they're in the same range, it probably is close to right. Where I find that it is wrong here is particularly on condos and then properties that may have something unique, more land, or sometimes they do have an addition and it's not being reported. So I like to know how to run it by hand. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to this estimate and the automated numbers from different websites. What exactly is the definition of a comparable property? We kind of look at it like we would a target, and the more similar, the closer, and the more recently sold is obviously more ideal, but generally it's within a half mile to a mile radius at the most. Sold within the last 6 to 12 months. I would caution here and say the more recent is probably sold for more money, and so it's going to be even more accurate. So most time it's 3 to 6 months right now. Phoenix area saw almost 10% growth in the first quarter. So when we say 10% increase in prices, that means that a house that was $300,000 on January 1 is now $330,000. That's a huge difference. That's enough to make the whole deal work. So call back those old leads. We're looking for similar style and similar age of home. For us, style is single story. You don't want to really comp 2 stories along with single stories unless you just have to, because definitely a single story house brings more. In different parts of the country, when I say similar style, if you've got a log cabin, you want to try to comp it with log cabins, keep it as similar as possible. The age of the home, we try to stay in the same decade. That's probably the one that I feel the most lenient on, because even if we've got an older house, if we're talking about completely rehabbing it, it's going to be similar to newer homes. So if there's something I have to dismiss, it's typically the age of the home, where I have a little more flexibility there. You also want to make sure that you're finding houses of similar size. For me, it's about 10%. That doesn't have to be right on the dot, but you definitely don't want to compare a house that is much, much larger or much, much smaller, because it's going to sell for a different price per square foot. And we will remind me to address non-disclosure states. Zillow, there's 22 non-disclosure states in the country. And so we also have to figure out how to work around that. We will do that for sure. All right, pulling comps without MLS access. I'm going to go through this and pull my Zillow screen over here in front of this for you. I think it's always easier to actually do it than try to just tell you step by step. So if I was going to comp something, let's just find an active property. Let me see what we can find here. It'd be cool if we found a deal on here this morning. All right, I don't really want a 1-1. Let's see if we can find something that's a house and maybe a 3-bedroom, something kind of normal. Condos, condos. Let me change this to house. We'll go over this. So this is Zillow. Typically, you would already have an address of a property that you were wanting to comp. Yeah, let's go here. We'll pick this one. So if this was the house I was wanting to comp, see if it still needs some work. Yeah, it's not bad, but we could still do some repairs to it and updates. I would put the address of the property on my paper. I'm a person that has to write stuff to learn it. And so some people put it in their spreadsheets, and we do put the numbers into our CRM, but I have to handwrite to calculate properties. I put the address, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2-car garage, 1,386 square feet. And then particularly in Arizona or Florida, the pool matters. In a lot of other markets, it's a wash, but for here, we like to know, so no pool. All right. How is there 3 bathrooms in a 1,300 square foot house? I guess there is. Yeah. Okay. Man, this would make a good Airbnb, 3 bathrooms. All right, let's see. Additional bedroom and a full bath. All right. All right. So I would hop into Zillow and put the address in first. Typically, when it pulls up, I'm going to jot down the information we just talked about. I also like to read these remarks just to see if there's anything significant. Does it mention that it needs work, that it's cash offers only, that there's structural issues? I read through it just to make sure there's nothing there that I need to jot down. Here lower, you can see the year built and the lot size. Lot size wasn't so significant in my home market of Knoxville, Tennessee. Here, people seem to pay a lot of attention to it. And then I also hop down here and I like to see what the situation is. Was the house listed last month and, canceled? If it was listed on the MLS and it didn't sell, you would be able to see that. If I see something like that, I jot those numbers down because I know I need to be lower than that, or it would have sold when it was on the MLS. This one hasn't sold since 2015, so nothing too significant here to write down. You can also grab your property taxes if you need them, if you're looking at rental properties. And this link typically, in most places, will take you to the county website where you can see that tax record, get the seller or confirm the seller information like we talked about. You could also go through Google, but it's linked here as well. All right. Well, we're not going to save that because I'm not logged in, but let's see. Pebble Beach. All right, so it's this green dot. It's typically going to be in the middle of your screen. Since we're looking for comparable or sold properties, we want to change this up here from the red dot to the yellow dot. Sold. And I typically move all the way down. Maybe if there's too many results, click just the houses. If you're comping a house, you don't want to comp it with a condo. So unclick everything except for house. And then here on the end button, more, you're able to define the results so you can find comps without having to look through every single property. So here, our property had 1,386 square feet. We want to kind of bracket those numbers. So let's just see if we can find it between 1,250 and 1,500. If we have to move that out, we can. I can leave let's try 6 months. 12 months ago, the market was still way different than it is today. And then here in the keywords, this is how we break it down and find houses that are in remodeled condition, because we only care what it's going to be worth once it's all fixed up and pretty. So here, there's 2 words I use. You have to use them individually because otherwise it's looking for both. One of those is remodeled. So let's see if we got any results. Looks like we do. And we need to zoom in just a little bit because we're too far out to find reasonable comps. All right, so we were on Pebble Beach. So all of these would possibly be comps. Let's go over here on the right-hand side and sort these priced high to low. And we can see right here, I'm getting all excited. This is pretty close. It just sold April 9th of 2021. It was 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,383 square feet, 2-car garage. So let's see what this one looks like. All right, so it looks like, they have a pool. This is okay. If we don't find any other comps, we will just adjust for this, but let's see what the condition of the house looks like. Looks like they have new flooring. Let's see if we can get to the kitchen. Kitchen's got, looks like quartz countertops, new shaker cabinets. They've got the backsplash in there. I would personally consider this a remodeled home. So tile bath, looks good. So I like this house for a comparable. It is one I would use more than likely. I know we have a pool here, so I would write down the address. 1059 West La Jolla. I did not know how to say that when I moved here and really embarrassed myself with the seller. All right, and it's a 2-car garage, 1383 square feet. And it has a pool. I write down the sold date for 2021, and it sold for 412K. You can hop down here, just gloss through the remarks. Remodeled home awaits you. Landscaped, blah, 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 looks good. We can see the year built. Ours was 1970. This is 1977. Looks like the same style house. I feel good about that. The other thing I'm looking for is a couple things, and this is a good one to have chosen by chance. I can see, one, that this investor was willing to pay $293 for this house before it was remodeled. So I do jot that information down. That tells me, okay, if I can get a house that needs some work, I likely can move it or wholesale it to an end buyer. In a non-disclosure state, you can still see the list price down here. You would not be able to see the sold. So you could go down and say, all right, it was listed for this. It probably sold for something close to that. He actually or she actually got this at a really nice discount. The other thing that I find significant is that the property was a pretty quick rehab. It listed at $399, but it sold at $412. So, and it closed out. This means closed. This is about a month difference. So that tells me the property likely went under contract within just a couple days, because a typical loan for an end buyer takes about a month. So they sold this likely within a couple days. And more than likely, there was multiple offers, being that it sold over list price. Now, do you think that this seller would be a potential buyer for this property? I say definitely. They had a very good experience. They quickly flipped it and got more than they asked for. So I'm going to be going back to the tax records for this property to see who the owner prior to the current owner used to be. Because if I'm wholesaling that house, they are a very likely potential buyer. All right, so $293 is what they bought it for. They sold it at $412. All right, now $412, but it had a pool. So for our team, our local team here in Phoenix, on this price house, we deduct $20K for a pool. I know you cannot build a pool for $20K. That is the number that we use here when we are adjusting our comparable sales. So we would say $412 minus $20K, that would be $392. And now we have adjusted for the pool. Our house has an extra bathroom, right? We've got 3 baths, they've got 2. For us, the difference in 1 and 2 would be $10,000. Between 2 and 3, I probably would use about $10,000 as well. So we're gonna add $10,000 back. That makes this comp 402,000. We subtracted the pull out. We added because it would have sold for more if it had a 3rd bathroom. And then we want to break this down to $1 per square foot. So we're gonna take the 402,000 in the calculator and divide it by the square feet of the property, 1383. That means this house sold for $290 per square foot. For us, we like to try to find 3 properties that are similar. So here's another one that sold recently. Here's Pebble Beach. This house is on Schaefer right here next door. I'm not going to go through the process as slowly this time, but we'll go through it quickly. Yes, it looks remodeled to me. We checked the photos. Nice job. Updated. Okay, awesome. We're going to write down this information right here. Scroll down, check this. Remodeled 3-2, 2-car garage, blah, blah, blah. Does it have a pool? Let's see. No pool, so we're good there. What I did see is that it has a 1-car garage and ours has a 2. So let's get nosy down here. All right, the house we just looked at. Did they pay for that house? I guess I didn't jot it down as we were yapping. Well, this one we can see that they paid $265 for it in September of 2020. They relisted at $379 when they were finished. It looks like they probably had a ton of offers. It went way over list price and they ended up raising the price. So people aren't technically supposed to do this, but it does help on the appraisal side when the appraiser comes out and that list price matches where the sold price is. They raised the price. Looks like they got about 15,000 more than they expected. We would take the $395. We would add the difference of value. If this house had had a 2-car garage, it would have sold for more. So we're going to say $395 plus 10,000 is $405. We're going to take that $405,000 and do what? Divide it by the square feet of the comparable property. It's 1304. Let's see what we get. 405 divided by 1304. Well, if I can type, let's see. Are y'all following me? That is $310 a square foot. So we've got a 290 a square foot, a $310 per square foot. We would find one more of these and you could average them out, or you could use, you know, one of the two higher. We do them both ways depending on how hot the area is, but this area seems pretty hot. This is also a potential buyer for you. So obviously they made money. They're familiar with the neighborhood. They just sold this house a couple of days ago and the money's probably burning a hole in their pocket. Does that process make sense for you guys? Let me look at your questions.
Yes. Everybody, okay, here, we're gonna do a couple of questions
Yes.
while you're going through then. Can you, first of all, number one, can you address non-disclosure states?
I can. We actually just moved into a non-disclosure state and
Arizona?
No, Tulsa. We've got a virtual market in Tulsa now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Tulsa, I thought it was non-disclosure. That's not looking like it though. One of them was. Let's see. Tulsa. We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Oh, it's Boise, Idaho. We picked up a few new markets, and one of them was non-disclosure, and I was not real excited, but we can get through it. All right. So Boise, Idaho is a non-disclosure state, and so when you're trying to comp, you're seeing there's no numbers here. And it's kind of annoying. The only way that I know to work around that is we still do the same thing. Look at the information, address, square feet, check out the photos. Looks to me like this one's been rehabbed, right? So I want to know what's the deal? What did it sell for? I need it for a comp. We are going down and saying, okay, it listed, because you can still see the list price, $11.19 for $439. If it closed on 12/9 or 12/31, so listing removed in Boise would be pending. It went pending within 20 days and closed at the end of the month. Because it sold so quickly, I would assume that it's close to the price. I didn't know they did this. They might be showing us the answer and we don't even know it. They've erased the price, but left the price per square foot. I can calculate backwards. $349. You would take $349 a square foot that they're saying it sold for, even though they bleeped out the price, and just multiply it times 1319. 460. They got 460,000. So you just
that's Zillow's way of getting around it.
Zillow, we don't mind. But that we just kind of work around it. You can still do it. It still works. I didn't think this was usually here, but surprise, surprise. If it's not, then we typically would say it probably sold for full price, maybe a little more. I mean, 460 is obviously more than 440, but you're going to be in the same ballpark. Most markets are just super hot and selling for more than ask right now. So yeah.
So non-disclosure states means that you don't have to disclose the price of the sell price of the home.
Right.
Okay. I didn't even know about that. Okay,
So here we go.
how,
Listing.
real fast, I have a couple more questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, how confident can one be with the accuracy of the pictures of properties on Zillow?
This is somebody asking that must have used Zillow before. Most of the time, Zillow is good. There are times that I'm like, something doesn't make sense. I am seeing a price that should be for a remodeled house, and the pictures look like it needs work. And in that case, sometimes I feel like, or it's likely that the property sold before they had to put it on MLS. So if something seems off and it's like, hey, this is our highest dollar per square foot and the house still looks like crud, it's very likely that they never put it on the MLS, that it just sold. One place that I can find photos sometimes when Zillow does not have them is realtor.com. Even so, if there's no photos and like, hey, I'm wondering why there's not, I'll hop on realtor.com and about half the time they will have photos that Zillow did not.
Okay. Wait, I got a couple more questions. Hang on.
Sure. I still have about 8 slides, so we're good still. Yeah, ask away, and then we'll hop back on and do the back end of the presentation.
On Zillow, when the property history feature is all blank, maybe turned off, is there a way of turning it on so the data is populated?
No, if it's turned off, then the property more than likely hasn't sold in over a decade, a long time. The way that you would be able to see this is if your tax assessor's office has the sold prices prior. But so you would just log into the county assessor site for that area and look at the history. California is the only state that I know of that you just can't see anything at all. Some of the non-disclosure states obviously don't show that as well. It makes it a little tougher. Hopefully the market's busy enough that if there's a property that's just a weird outlier, is not making sense, that you can scratch that comp and find 3 others or even 2 others. Sometimes we like 3, but it's not the end of the world if there's only 2 that are super good comps for us.
Mm-hmm. And then do you ever adjust for bedroom differences?
We do a little bit. If it's in the school district everybody wants to be in and it's a 3-bedroom versus a 4-bedroom, I like to add 5K, even if they're the same square feet, if it's in one of those hot to trot school districts. For the most part, we don't. We like to comp 3 beds with 3 beds. We don't like to mix 2 and 3 bedrooms, but 3 and 4, not as big of a deal. We typically add 5 if it's a popular school district.
In a non-disclosed state, can you pull sold price from tax records?
No. Zillow's pulling their info from the county assessor sites, and they try to hide it there as well. But you can work around it. Texas is non-disclosure and helped a lot of students there. You just have to dig further. Sometimes you'll see a price here, but the agent would have had to go back into Zillow because they want the credit. They want it to show up that, hey, I'm working this market, I'm busy. And in the non-disclosure stage, they can go in and add it by hand. So when we comp out in Texas, a lot of times we'll see that and people say, oh, I thought it was non-disclosure, but it's because the agent went back in and manually put in that close information.
How do we see the Arizona MLS report on Zillow? When we click on the link, there are multiple options.
For Arizona, are you talking about the county assessor site in Arizona?
I'm not sure. Maybe they can, whoever wrote that question can maybe. This is the AR MLS report on Zillow. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. You can clarify. I see. Okay. All right, keep going, and then she clarify. We can do that one after.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's see. Let me move this back out the way. All right. So that was that one. And let's go in. It's really short, but I think it's still very significant. This is the next step. Remember that analyzing a property has 3 steps. We had the on the phone discussion with the seller, the desktop analysis that we just went through, and then your in-person analysis goals. So We want to make sure we've got the pre-valuation that we talked about just now, and then you're going to meet with the seller at the property. There are all sorts of repair estimate guides that are online, or we've got some. I like a one-pager that I can go through and check each box. Hey, needs a roof, yes or no? Needs paint, yes or no? Needs, and it runs through it. And so I have all those notes. I take a lot of pictures at these appointments because I have too many times got home and said, did it need this? Oh no, I didn't take a picture of that. So I typically ask permission to take video or photos and take extra more than you think you need. Yeah, I can get a copy of that list to you, the little checklist. Does it need lighting? Does it need new trim and interior doors? After I look at the repairs, I will recheck the formula that says what we can offer for the property. Hey, was I right? Is there, $25,000 worth of work, or is that what the seller said? And there's really $50,000 worth of work. So double check everything. And then if the seller is at that point, we can get them to accept an offer, then we go ahead and present the offer to purchase. I like to present an offer in person. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, or both decision makers are not there. I don't want to present an offer if the seller's not in a place that they can't accept it. If there's still somebody that has to be there for that conversation, I want to make sure I'm able to speak with that person, or they are there. All right. Pre-valuation means drive by the closed comparables. So these couple that we wrote down, I want to drive by, particularly in some parts of town here, the view matters. If the house sits below grade and there's no view of the mountains, and both of our comps have, views off of three sides of the house, it's going to be a deduction here. Same thing if you're near the coast and you've got water view, non-water view. So I drive these close comparables and I'm seeing, hey, what's going on? What's the view? How does it sit in the neighborhood? What does the neighbor look like? If we have a super, super rundown house next door, it is going to hurt the value a little bit. So check that out. I like to drive by the pending sales. This means properties that are under contract but have yet to close. Sometimes we check those as well. You can look at the active listings. Those are your competitors, or what your competitors will look like once you have it back on market and the subject property. So do some driving, check it out, check out their views, what the neighbors look like, things that would affect your ability to sell the property on the back end, or your end buyer's ability. Not being nice. I can't get it to let me go to the next screen. Oh, what happened? Let's see. Is that it? Let me see. Oh, that is. I must have hit a slide off. So yeah, that's pretty much, you just want to drive by and make sure nothing sneaks up on you, and that you are actually using comps that are comparable to your property. They look the same, the neighborhood feels the same. All right, I think that is it. Are there any other questions, Stacy? Was that one clarified?
Yes, okay, we have a couple more questions.
Okay.
First of all, let everybody know when you meet. There's a couple questions on that.
I think when the time changed, and Arizona's time doesn't change, it pushed it super early. So it is the first Saturday of every month, and I am fairly certain that we moved it to 9 a.m. Arizona time, which is 12 Eastern. That's an hour later than it's been the last couple of weeks, but it was a little too early.
You don't want to be what's up with that?
Yeah, 9 o'clock Arizona time, the first Saturday of every month, although we will meet next Saturday because we were here yesterday and today.
What markets do you invest in?
I work for a team here in Phoenix, and we do about 10 deals a month. And then they just picked up some virtual markets. So we've been in Phoenix forever and a little bit here and there, but we are in Tulsa, Oklahoma City. We picked up Knoxville, Tennessee, because that is the market I am most familiar with. I was licensed there since 2005. So it's kind of Knoxville, Boise, Idaho, and we have done flips in Las Vegas as well. Me personally, on my own, not the team, I am in Birmingham, Alabama.
It's like random. I'm sure there's like everybody needs to join her Saturday meeting and then try to like have her dig into why she's choosing those markets. I think that'd be very interesting to know, like, why are you choosing those markets? I'm sure there's a whole bunch of reasons why.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so she, like I said, she's nationwide, and she's also all, she lives in Arizona, but do y'all do a lot of stuff in Arizona?
We do. Yeah, we've got a general contractor that's one of the owners of the company, and so we're lucky to have that on our team. And they flip anything from regular $300,000 houses up to new builds that are a couple million plus. So
cool, awesome, I love it. Okay, let me see. I think I had a couple more questions. Can we get a copy of the form list you use? What
yes,
form is that?
he's wanting the repair sheet. So it's a one pager, like an Excel spreadsheet that prints out that says.
Well, just send it to us and we can put it in the forms directory, or just go to her session and she can get it to you as well.
Yeah, that'd be a good session to do, calculating repairs. That's the other big learning curve if you're not used to trying to evaluate the cost of repairs, or if the price of wood 10 times is itself like it has.
Yeah, and also, so like I said, she leads the Arizona group, but I mean, she could tell you anything about anything across the country, just like all the other groups. So I would go and just hang out with her Saturday morning, have a cup of coffee, and then run some numbers or run some comps.
Yeah, we can do repairs next Saturday. We'll put it on the docket.
There you go. Okay, how about, can you show us how to use the county website to find the assessor info?
All right.
I don't know. And, all the 50,000 counties out there, just do one by one. Let's do one,
Let's see. That's not good either. Sometimes Zillow is really funny in Google Chrome. I don't know why. I like Chrome, but I have to get in Microsoft Edge. I maybe need to update my Google, but I'm not used to using Microsoft Edge on here. Everything looks different. Let's see. I feel like I missed it. I feel like I did. And all these are saved on ours. Oh, let's see. Search for parcels. So let's grab an address off of this other one that we were just on. It just sold. Just see what happens. Copy or put the address in here. I'm gonna do this today. So if you put in the full address and it tells you there's no answers, back it up and just put in part of the address. So 917 West Julie Drive, it's going to be right here. This is going to give you your map of it. Let me see where it's at. I'm a licensed agent here and I go through the agent side of it, and so I don't typically have to go through this way. I apologize. Let me find where the link is. Yeah, all of them are like this. You just got to type in your county and the words tax assessor site, and you should be able to pull the values off here. I don't know why it's acting like that. I don't want to view the parcel. I want to view the actual thing. Let's see. That's what I want. No.
And the one thing that I love too is that I use Landglide.
Do you like Landglide? I haven't in a long time, and I'm We definitely should check that out at some point.
Yeah, I use Landglide. This is something that Mike talked about yesterday in the his wholesaling webinar that he did. And essentially it's $10 a month, so it costs a little bit of money, but you just type in whatever address that you want and all the public data just gets pulled up
Does
immediately.
it?
Yeah. So like when I'm out driving for storage facilities, I use Landglide to find the property information. So if you want to be pulling up public data, you know, I highly recommend checking out Landglide and using that. It's literally on the home screen of my phone. And I'm just using it on a regular basis, right? So so I would highly recommend checking out Landglide to Rita, who was asking about this. Okay.
For
And that
sure.
way it's just right at your fingertips. Go ahead.
Yep, for sure. So this is Knox County, Tennessee. You just put in Knox County, click it, put in the address. Most of them will come up with a site like this. They're going to give you a land value and the improvement value, which is the structure itself, and a total tax assessment. This number, you're still going to have to run your comps. It's typically low. It's one of my old houses. Back in 2008, when I lived in Tennessee, typically you can see the layout of the house itself. They're going to show you the deck, the covered front porch. This is basement home they're showing, so you've got some details here, and then of course your acreage is typically listed as well. But for this one, I can see that the property owner is you can grab their whole name off here. So this, you would need two sellers, you know, one seller, two sellers if that's who is selling it to you.
And also, I mean, all tax assessor sites, they all kind of look like this.
Yeah.
They look very similar. So once you start getting in and looking, you'll kind of just get familiarized with it. But yeah, I recommend Landglide, honestly. It's just so easy. Okay, good. Any final questions about running comps with Alice at all? And then I say jump on a call with her. She's very, very knowledgeable, and let her take you through some of this. That's the one thing with the teachers, right? It's like when you get stuck on something, you don't know if you don't know what to do, then just jump on any of the, especially any of the state calls, right? And they'll all just like help you do that. And my calls on Tuesday afternoon, I mean, you know, there's only anywhere from 10 to 20 people. So we go through and I can answer any questions of any challenges that anybody has during the session as well. Okay. One final question. In non-disclosure states, do the county assessor office show property profile data?
Yes, they're the only thing they're not showing is going to be the sold prices or what they sold for, but you should still see the house layout and kind of the blueprint drawings. And I think that a lot of them still even show the sale date. They just don't plug the price in there for you. So.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, Alice, for hopping on, hanging out with us today.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have an amazing day, and let's see what you got up next.